Hey guys, Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and in this video, I'm going over my DraftKings NFL Week 16 picks. Before we get on to the picks, I just want to quickly talk about this past weekend in San Diego when I was at the Fantasy Football World Championship put on by DraftKings. It was an amazing event, and if you guys haven't already seen it, I uploaded a highlight video. It's on my YouTube channel, and I'll also link it in the description below. And then also you can see here I'm wearing my new Fantasy Labs t-shirt. I ended up meeting up with the co-founders of Fantasy Labs, Jonathan Bales and Peter Jennings. Both seem like great guys and they have an amazing product. If you guys don't already have an account at Fantasy Labs, they've got a cool Christmas promotion going on. It's 50% off the first month for new users. I've got the link in the description below that will get you that promotion, and you also have to use the promo code GEEK50. So all the details are below. Let's get on to my DraftKings Week 16 picks. All right, so before we move on to Week 16, let's take a look back at Week 15. I did things a little different in Week 15 as I was heading to San Diego for the Fantasy Football World Championship. So I just gave out 20 picks before I did my full research, just 20 players I wanted to look at for the week. And as you can see here, a lot of them did very solid, and we had some busts as well. So on the left here with the solid picks, we have Bortles with 25 points, David Johnson went nuts with 47 points, Julio Jones 29, Baldwin with 20, Tate was a cheap receiver with 22 points, Diggs another cheap receiver with 20 points, and then on the right we had some busts, Matt Ryan just 12 points, Lamar Miller 4 points, Tammy with the goose egg, and Steelers defense with just 6 points. And then in the bottom right there you can also see that I emailed out some picks. So I emailed out some guys that went absolutely nuts. We had Newton with over 45 points, Brown with a huge game, Watkins a big game, Reed was one of the top scoring tight ends. Chiefs and Patriots defense were two of my defense picks as well. So if you're not signed up for my emailed picks, I do those later in the week. Just click on the lineup tool link in the YouTube description below and you'll get signed up for my emails as well. And then again this week, I got some great emails from guys who won some money. So T1's 29, not sure his first name, but he won first place in 3 satellite tournaments that got him into the $1,500 buy-in main event this upcoming Sunday. So good luck in that. And then we had R. Washington. He won $1,000 on a $3 entry. That's awesome. Congrats to you. And Blake had an amazing week. He was able to walk away with $400 with a $3 entry. So congrats to Blake. Congrats to all you guys who emailed me and didn't get up here. And if you didn't win this week, I hope that you can be up here in Week 16. As I've done for the past couple weeks, I'm going to take a look at the Millionaire Maker winning lineup. This guy put up 272 points. So it looked like he started out with the Cam Newton and Ted Ginn Jr. stack. That's my guess of where he would have started with this lineup. As you can see there, they put up 48 points and 26 points, so that was big for him. And then I'm not sure where he went next, but I would guess that he maybe locked in, maybe he wanted Antonio Brown as his high price receiver. I debated taking him in my Fantasy Football World Championship lineup, but I just didn't like the matchup. And with just one lineup, it's so tough to go with a guy with such a tough matchup when there's lots of other choices out there. So that was a great pick there. And then he had Allen Robinson was another top receiver for him. Only put up 14.7 points, but he was able to get over that with a couple other picks, including his running backs, which just went absolutely nuts. David Johnson, 47.9. That's a crazy score for a running back. Danny Woodhead, not a lot of people took him, 2.1% owned, and I don't think he would have had quite as good a game if Melvin Gordon didn't get injured. But he's always got the upside there because he catches passes, so 36 points from him. And then he had some great picks with Reed in his tight end spot, 27.4 points. And Inman was the minimum for a receiver. You knew he was going to get some opportunities with a lot of injuries in San Diego. He only had 3 catches, but he turned those into 78 yards with 10 points, so that was good. And Texans D was one of the cheaper options of the week, and they put up 11 points. So altogether, it was mostly his Newton, Antonio Brown, and his 2 running backs that just went absolutely nuts for him, put up 272 points. So congrats to him. All right, so let's move on to my NFL Week 16 picks. So my favorite stack of the week is Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson. A decent price here at $6,500 and $7,500. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Saints, who are just awful defensively. Despite a slow start last week, Bortles still managed to put up 25 DraftKings points. He has 25 or more DraftKings points in 4 straight games, and he's hit 30 or more twice this year already. And then Robinson is coming off 2 slow weeks, but he's still an elite receiver. He does have 2 games with 35 or more DraftKings points, and even though he's had 2 slow games, he has a touchdown in 4 straight games and at least 1 touchdown in 9 games this year. So he's a great option almost every week. And this week going up against the Saints, I really like Bortles Robinson stack. And at running back here, I've got to do it again. I'm going with David Johnson at 5,800. I believe this is the 4th straight week I've recommended him, but I have to keep doing it. I know a lot of people that don't follow the NFL too closely still might not know his name even after last week's performance, so I'll mention him here again at 5,800. Since becoming the starter due to injury, he has put up 20, 17, and 47 DraftKings points, smashing value each week. His price continues to climb, but not enough in my opinion. He's part of one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's getting lots of scoring opportunities, lots of touches. He's a dynamic running back with high upside. I'm taking him again this week. At wide receiver, we're going to go with a little sneaky play here with Jermaine Kearse at 3,200. He might not be as sneaky this week after putting up 21 DraftKings points last week, but his price has actually dropped $300. Over his last 4 games, he has 20, 14, and 21 DraftKings point games. He does have a zero mix in there, but at 3,200, you can take that risk given the upside. So a lot of people are going to be taking Baldwin and Lockett and kind of forgetting about Kearse, but at 3,200, I really like him. The Rams do well against top receivers, and this might give Kearse more opportunities this week. Another good wide receiver on the week that is also cheap is Ruben Randle at 3,500. So Odell Beckham Jr. got suspended. You got to make sure that his suspension is upheld for this to be a good play. Randle will step into the number 1 receiver role with Odell out. He's gotten 5 or more targets in 11 of their last 12 games, and he could get double-digit targets this week. He scored double-digit points on DraftKings in 5 of their last 7 games. He's put up 1 game with over 20 DraftKings points already this year, and I think he could be able to do it this week against the Vikings on Sunday night. 3,500, he's a great play this week. At tight end, I'm going to go with Gary Barnidge at 4,700. He hasn't been priced this low since November 1st. He's put up double-digit DraftKings points in every game since week 3, including games with 25 and 30 DraftKings points. He's also had 7 or more targets in 9 of his last 10 games. And with a lot of the elite tight ends rising in price, I'll go with Barnidge, who's actually gotten cheaper despite putting up some pretty big games over the last couple weeks. So Gary Barnidge at 4,700 is a great play this week. All right, so we've got 5 more DraftKings NFL Week 16 picks for you. I've got Cam Newton as my second favorite quarterback, 7,500. He's coming off a 48.6 DraftKings points game versus the Giants, where he threw for 340 yards, 5 touchdowns, and added 100 yards rushing on top of that. He's put up over 30 DraftKings points in 3 of his last 5 games. And some were worried about him being pulled early in this game versus the Falcons, but I think the Panthers would only do that if they're up by a lot. They're still fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC. They still want to have the undefeated season, so they're only going to pull him, I'm guessing, if they're up a lot. And if they do get a big lead, I'm guessing that Cam Newton's going to contribute to that quite a bit. So I think he's a great play this week. He did have just 23 DraftKings points against the Falcons 2 weeks ago, but that's when the Panthers blew out the Falcons 38-0 and Cam was pulled after throwing 3 touchdowns. I think that they stick in this game a little longer, the Falcons. They had 4 turnovers in that game. I don't expect that to happen, so I expect this to be a little more competitive, and Newton should have another big game. I'm hoping for him to get over 30 DraftKings points with this price. My favorite stack with Newton is Ted Ginn Jr. at 4,900. Even with his price rising to a season high, I still think it's a good play at just 4,900. Another good stack with Newton would be Olsen, but it's a little more expensive. Ginn at just 4,900 is my top stack. He has 3 straight games of 25 or more DraftKings points, including 29.5 against the Falcons 2 weeks ago when he was only targeted 3 times but turned those into 2 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Sometimes you do have to play the hot hand, and I think this is one of the cases that makes sense, as Ginn Jr. is under 5,000 still, and he's Newton's top wide receiver option. Another running back for the week is D'Angelo Williams at 6,500. Williams managed to put up 16 DraftKings points last week despite only rushing for 26 yards, as he added a touchdown and 5 receptions versus the Broncos. He's a key piece in the Steelers offense, and the Steelers offense is one of the best offenses in the NFL right now. They're projected to score around 28 points this weekend against the Ravens, and if they get up there, you know that Williams will most likely play a big role in that, and he's put up 15 or more DraftKings points in 6 of his last 7 games, including 4 games over 23 points. So at 6,500, I like Williams this week in a good matchup. And then a little bit of a punt play here with Vance McDonald at 2,500 for a tight end. He didn't do much off his injury this past week with just 1 catch for 10 yards on 4 targets. But prior to his injury, he had 19 and 16 DraftKings points with a touchdown in each of those games. He's in a good matchup versus Detroit, who aren't great versus tight ends. And the 49ers will most likely be trailing in this game as they're 9-point underdogs. So they should be airing the ball out quite a bit. And McDonald is one of Gabbard's favorite targets. And of course, there is the risk at 2,500. He's obviously not an elite receiver or elite tight end, but he does have the upside, as we've seen with 16 and 19 points. If he could put up even 15 points, that would meet value this week. And then on defense, I'm going to go with the Texans at 2,800. They've put up double-digit DraftKings points in 5 of their last 9 games, which is the mark you want to try to get to with the defense, is around 10 or more. This week, they're facing the Titans, who are one of the best teams to roster defense against in fantasy football, and they'll actually be without Mariota, so Mettenberg will be starting. He's thrown just 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions this year. I think the Texans are a great play at defense at just 2,800 this week at DraftKings. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button on YouTube so I know to keep making them. And as long as we can get over 1,000 likes or thumbs up this week, I'll do one again for week 17. And if you don't already have access to my free lineup generator tool, make sure you click on the link in the YouTube description below to get that absolutely free. And you'll also get my email updates weekly as well with extra picks. Alright guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope you guys make some money this week. Cheers.